Next up, we have the final part of our evening, which is the senior competition, which will be a heated competition for sure. First up, we have Frances Bridgman. Frances Bridgman is a Year 11 student, and she'll be speaking on There is no time like the present.
It's definitely more than 10 metres. That was the last time I so much as glanced at the turbine ocean below me. A few seconds later, I called to my fellow cliff jumpers that I was going, and then jumped, before my brain had time to catch up with my actions. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That extract from my summer holiday demonstrated the logic behind the well-known proverb, "There's no time like the present." Well-known, yes, but enforced, practiced, meditated? Hardly. Passive plebeians and procrastination are slightly more common in my experience. You see, I think that the old "there's no time like the present" still has a few lessons to teach us today. You live and you learn. Wait until you are older, smarter, stronger, and more experienced before you do it. This is another way of saying procrastination, which is the alternative to actually doing something. I often fall into this frame of mind after listening to a motivational speech or watching an inspiring video. At the time, I genuinely want to make a difference, change the world, become a better person, whatever. But I think it would be better to wait until I am more ready. The trouble is, at any stage, I can always be more ready for it. No, in hindsight, I realize that my logical thinking just means that I never end up doing anything. When we wait, we convince ourselves that we are getting stronger, but in reality, we are letting ourselves grow weak. If you let the excitement cool down, it might never come back, and you don't change the world after all. And it's not just me. Believe it or not, all of us will have been through the process of inspiration to procrastination, and probably thrown away a world-changing opportunity. Example? Well, I think I can assume you've all heard one of those awful poverty statistics. If you were a perceptive person, you would have been horrified and started to wonder why every single person wasn't spending their weekends in India, caring for the homeless orphans. Some people are a bit lazy and leave it at that. The rest of us decide that we will be the ones to act, even if nobody else does. Hooray! The spark has been ignited. A fire of burning passion is about to change the world, and then trying to solve a huge problem like poverty does seem a bit big for a 15-year-old, so maybe it would be better to wait until you're older. What? What happened to "there's no time like the present"? This is no time for procrastination. There are children dying. This waiting game we are playing is a dangerous one if too many people join in. I mean, even after all of that, nothing has changed in the lives of the Indian orphans. And if nobody acts to solve the world's problems now, how is that going to make them more likely to be solved in the future? In the Bible, Paul's advice to Timothy was, do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example. Do not neglect your gift. This advice is for us young people. Our brains are fresh and not as influenced by the world the way adults are. Our initial opinions and ideas are really important. They're our gifts, like the gift Timothy had, and we must not neglect them. The last page in one of my favourite books, Oh, the Places You'll Go, by Dr. Seuss, reads, so, be your name Buxton, or Bixby, or Bray, or Mordecai Alley, then Alan O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. The main thing preventing us from getting on our way is that the mountains we are facing seem too big for us. However, remember, you don't have to do it all at once. If you change one small thing about the world for the better, the world has still been changed. Sam Johnson, a university student in Christchurch, used Facebook to organise student work parties to hold relief after the earthquake. It ended up turning into a volunteer army of 13,000 students. He managed to make a huge difference by starting off with little things. Our school has a multitude of ways you can contribute to our society in a productive way. Mission trips, service committees, 40-hour famine, all sorts of leadership positions, and of course, the powerful instrument of prayer. Any or all of these are a fantastic way to get started, and to not partake in procrastination and some kind of waiting game. There's no time like the present is a state of mind we should all take on. It's plugging into the potential we have as young innovators and taking the first step to solving some of our world's trickiest problems. It's using the gifts we have been given the way they were always supposed to be used. Somebody has to take the first step, and there's no reason why it can't be a teenager at Bethlehem College today. So, be your name Buxton or Bixby or Bray, or Mordecai Ali, Van Allen OPK. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way.
Thank you very much, Frances. I too find myself procrastinating, but you know what, I'll change that. I'll get right onto it soon. I'd now like to invite Year 13's very own, Erin Dallas, to speak about procrastination is a thief of time.
I have a talent. This talent will allow me to go nowhere in life, to achieve none of my wildest dreams. When I grow up, I will be able to become absolutely nothing, because my talent is procrastination. We have all been there. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. 3,000 assessments sit on your desk, waiting to be completed for tomorrow's deadline. And yet, for some unknown reason, you are lying on your bed, YouTubing videos of sloths falling out of trees, continuously refreshing your newsfeed, although there is nothing new about it, and listening to Miley Cyrus. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Erin Dallas, and I am a long-suffering procrastinator. But have no fear, because today I'm here to help you beat this life-altering disease by simply asking why we do it and how we can stop it. Because why should we put life off when there is simply no time like the present? Procrastination defined means the act or habit of putting off or delaying. But it turns out that procrastination is built into our bodies. According to Dr. Piers Steel, author of The Procrastination Equation, procrastination is the result of the two decision-making centers in the brain, the limbic system and prefrontal cortex, engaging in a mental tug-of-war. This essentially is the stalemate of procrastination. But you are not alone. Around 95% of a random survey group admitted to procrastinating at some point or another in their lives, while another 25% said their problem was chronic. But for students, the problem can be much worse. We can spend around a third of our day procrastinating, especially around exam time. And as much as we all love re-watching Tyrell breaking his leg on YouTube, the problem has got to be stopped. So what can you do? The first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. Although you may not like to say that you are in dire need of some help, it is the only way to begin the journey of actually getting some work done. Secondly, ditch those distractions. As much as we all love Snapchat, it is not going to help you complete your English assignment. Thirdly, set goals. Be clear and precise about what you want to achieve. Start small and don't overwhelm yourself with huge tasks. And finally, repeat. Keep up your hard work and then you have me to thank when you're a highly paid lawyer, doctor, or all black. famous philosopher Aristotle once said, "We are what we repetitively do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." Michelle LaVaughn Robinson is an excellent example of someone who made the most of all the time that was given to her. Born in Chicago in 1964, Michelle's family was never rich, but knew the meaning of hard work. She gained a scholarship to Princeton University and is now a lawyer and writer by trade. You may know her as the First Lady, or Michelle Obama. Speaking to the lowest decile school in Washington, D.C., she said, "When you invest thousands of hours in anything, you get better at it. It's about the amount of effort that you put into anything." Ecclesiastes 3 verse 8 says, "There is a time for love and a time for hate, a time for war and a time for peace." We need to make the most of the precious time that has been granted to us and not waste it doing nothing good with our lives. There is no time like the present. And if we keep putting life off, we will miss out on the awesome opportunities and experiences that can come out of hard work. I can guarantee you that this speech would have been completed 10 times faster without a spontaneous wardrobe clean-out and several rounds of Candy Crush Saga. So the next time you find yourself stuck in a mental tug-of-war, take the first step and admit that you have a problem. And that way, we can make the world a much better place. Hi, my name is Erin Dallas, and I'm a procrastinator.
Thank you, Erin. That was great. Next up, we have Vandana Bahan. She is a Year 11 student, and she'll be talking about people who are in glass houses should not throw stones.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं एक सच्चा मुसलमान हूँ। मैं अमेरिका में रहता हूँ और मुझे अमेरिका से बेहद मोहब्बत है। मैं भी आप लोगों की तरह एक अमेरिका का रहने वाला हूँ जो हर तरह से देश की कानून मानता हूँ। मुझे जंग नहीं चाहिए, मगर अमन चैन और मोहब्बत वाली ज़िंदगी चाहिए। मेरा नाम खान है और मैं आतंकवादी नहीं हूँ। If you had said these few innocent words just 10 years ago in America, this would have been your state.
उस वक्त मुझे पता नहीं था, लेकिन मेरे जैसे अरब से लोगों को FBI ने ऐसे ही पकड़कर अलग-अलग जेल्स में डाल दिया। हम सब में सिर्फ एक ही चीज कॉमन थी, हमारा मज़हब। रात भर मरते थे और चिल्लाते रहते थे, वही चीज बार बार। Listen to me! This is a mistake! I'm an American!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here today to tell you the untold story of a nation, to present to you the other side of the coin. I know I am mixing fire with water here, but I believe the world has overlooked the strong issue. The issue of the brutality which many innocent Muslims had to withstand after the tragic 9/11. You may question, why should we bother? The country in which the headquarters for United Nations is located, the country who is all for human rights, this country violated their own rules. America, unbeknown to most, breached their own laws, constructed new laws which not only were which not only were unfair, but torturing, all in the name of national security. This is the case of extreme discrimination. This is the case of the violation of human rights. A few weeks after 9/11, public opinion surveys reflected a disturbing development. Arab and Muslim Americans should be profiled and targeted for surveillance and interrogation, all in the name of national security. Mainstream America was ready to group Muslims, Arabs, and Middle Easterners together as being responsible for 9/11 on whole. It was suddenly a matter of group identity emerging, and individualism, if there was any, disappearing. 83,000 young Muslim men were forcefully deported back to their countries, split up from their families in the US due to their Islamic faith, all in the name of national security. Now, 9/11 is actually what sparked a forest fire of abusive behavior towards the Muslim community. The experiences of US Captain James Yee offers compelling evidence of how, throughout post-9/11 period, antagonism towards the prisoners and efforts to break them rested upon the debasement of Muslim religious practices. American soldiers deliberately mocked the Islamic requirements. For example, to face Mecca during prayer, or when it came to burial, it was not done in the proper Islamic way. Disrespectful. Elsewhere, female soldiers have been used to humiliate prisoners by touching them, making them undress, and using sexually provocative tactics meant to violate Muslim taboos about religious purity. The program was later closed after deporting 83,000, imprisoning 1,200, and literally torturing to death 18 innocent Muslim men. The government realized it was not an effective nor successful means of capturing terrorists. But the damage was done. All this extreme discrimination leads me to ask you, why? After all, in all holy books, including our Bible and their Quran, it is mentioned that every human being is created equal. So who are we to judge? Just because someone has darker skin, longer beard, wears a cloth on their head, and clothes that are culturally abnormal to our Western society, does not instantly mean that they are a terrorist. Nor does it mean that they have any connections with terrorism. These are all simply stupid stereotypes that we have used on our behalf to hold some thousands of innocent Muslim men accountable of the heinous acts committed by those few men who have disgraced the peaceful Islamic faith. American society, considered as the melting pot, saw those who have different belief systems and cultural values from Americans as not simply different, but inferior. Will we resort to doing the same? And therefore, if we do, are we any better than those few terrorists by terrorizing their entire nation? And what do you expect to come your way once the damage is done? Love and forgiveness? Ladies and gentlemen, people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Do not discriminate against others if you yourself are not perfect in the first place. I shall leave you with a quote from the book The Reluctant Fundamentalist. As a society, you were unwilling to reflect upon the shared pain that united you with those who attacked you. You retreated into myths of your own difference and assumptions of your own superiority. Khadafis.
Thank you very much, Vanha. It was a well-crafted and very well-presented speech. Well done. I'd now like to invite Vincent Adams, our Year 13 sports captain, who will be speaking on the topic of the grass is greener on the other side.
There comes a time in an anonymous Year 13 boy's life where he can no longer fully express himself through the drab means of communication we use in ordinary life. So, in the face of adversity, he casts down the chains of our oppressive, image-orientated society and turns to the only means of communication he feels to be truly effective: poetry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an approximately 4-minute long poem on whether or not the grass is indeed greener on the other side. Is the grass always greener on the other side? Well, in your confidence confide that you're in for a wild ride, as if my words oblige, in the next 4 minutes it is the truth we will find. Is it true that this new paddock holds grass a little bit greener? Or do you feel that the roots of this field could be in fact a little bit meaner? Could it be true that this new pasture is in fact a little bit harsher than the one I stood in, say, last year? You see, as these questions bounced round my cranium, I realized I was being driven insane by them. For me, the grass is greener philosophy is shrouded by mystery and raised a few queer quandaries. For how do we know when we have crossed the magical divide that separates the grass in which we reside from this other grass on a particular different side? For I would wager a pretty pence that the transition across the fence did not come with a sign that read, "The grass is greener hence." As in my experience, this has not been the case. There was no line that marked the end of the race. I awoke one morning and out of the blue came a greener place. And then comes the inevitable question of distance. What if the space between you and this other side offers formidable resistance? What if the space is too much to transverse without you being driven to that other side in a four-wheeled Grim Reaper named hearse? So you see, the grass may be greener, but you may not be able to be there. And what is the point if we are unable to witness the grass that shimmers a brighter shade of verdigris? Or maybe that's verdigris. But whichever it may be, my point is conveyed with consistency. For what good can greener grass be if it only exists unattainably? But alas, arises another perplexion, one that fails to be subdued by the usual answer section. Imagine, if you will, standing in the middle of a quadrilateral. On all four sides, choices that do all seem practical. But how do we muse on which side to choose? And if we pick wrong, do we know what we will lose? Because on one of these sides, the grass may be more browny yellow, and the choosing of this side could leave a fellow feeling uncomfortably, insufferably mellow. And if this mind frame of choosing sides results in shame, is there a path back to the side from which we came? Because personally, redemption is a quality that I have deemed necessary, and the grass is greener mentality leaves no room for a whoops-a-daisy. The grass over here is not as green as I thought it would be. So, humanity, it seems, is in an endless race, one in which they chase the sparkling emerald place with such haste that they overlook that the current space might actually be okay. It seems that our supposed intelligence has gone sour, for with all our power, we're in constant search of these greener fields with slightly prettier flowers. Can it not be so that this is the place we need to grow? Does it occur to you that maybe we don't need another field to sow? that maybe here amongst the snow and the winds that blow and the grass that swooshes to and fro, we can finally know that the grass is always greener somewhere else. But maybe the place we call our own is the place we should call home. Thank you very much.
Two judges.
Well, I think we were really treated to a fantastic senior competition. Great variety and great speeches from all four speakers. Heard first from Frances, and again I think in Frances we saw a speaker who was able to draw us in not only with her voice but her face, and to convey a strong and compelling message. And I really enjoyed the conclusion of your speech and the thoughts that left us with. We then heard from Erin, who I take it from the contents of your speech showed us the benefits of preparing at the last minute. Erin, I thought you had an excellent delivery. You used gestures, you used your stage really well. But I think the biggest thing that I noticed, and I think we'd all agree, is you really look like you're enjoying yourself up there and you're enjoying interacting with your audience, and that's a really powerful part of public speaking and something I thought you did excellently.
And I never would have known you to be a procrastinator. So, are you truly, or does Lucas need to have a word with you about telling me? But it made a very effective speech, so thank you, Erin. And Vanna, you chose a very challenging topic. And it's really good that people choose topics like that, because sometimes, especially young people, might be tempted to shy away from them because they're very difficult to pull off well. But you did it. And just the finer nuances of how you use your face, and a tiny little pausing, a little bit in your mouth or your eyes or just the turn of your head, it's very, very effective, right? You just pull the audience right in. Also good use of the video clip. And I'm so impressed that you memorized all that at the beginning, in a foreign language, right? It was great, very good. And then we have Vinny. Vinny, who's your English teacher? Mrs. Parsons? Yeah! Stand up and take that. Oh, that was so clever. That was so clever. And what I also liked was not just the whole philosophy of it. I'm thinking, oh, the grass, oh, is it? But how you used your voice and your body and this to help us see, and the pauses. And it was just so effective. So I think we have to say that the winner tonight goes to Vinny.